Hi, so I'm dealing with a situation where I'm being blackmailed for money. I think they're trying to lure me somewhere. Do you know when an arrest would be made?
And she just started saying, no. And it sounded like someone might have been grabbing her or something.
No.
Every woman I've met or that came across, that I used my manipulation tactics to get what I wanted.
This is the tragic story of Lauren McCluskey, a young woman whose desperate calls for help echoed unheard, leading to a fatal conclusion. Lauren was a 21-year-old student who loved life and had so much ahead of her. But something terrible happened that changed everything. It was a typical evening, and she was just talking to her mom on the phone, sharing bits of her day, when suddenly her ex-boyfriend, Melvin Rowland, showed up. He wasn't there to just talk and chill. He had malicious intentions. As they were talking, Rowland appeared, and the situation quickly turned scary. He confronted Lauren right there in her dorm parking lot. Before she knew it, he grabbed her. He was strong and angry, and he dragged her across the parking lot. She tried to resist, dropping her phone and her belongings as she struggled to get away. After that, her dad, who was on the line, knew something was wrong. He hung up and called campus security right away.
Hi, my daughter, Lauren McCluskey, was talking to her mom, and then she just started saying, no. And it sounded like someone might have been grabbing her or something.
It was 8:23 p.m., and he told them his daughter was in danger. He was scared for her, but help didn't get there in time. Now, at 9:55 p.m., just a little over an hour and a half later, the worst news came. They found Lauren, but it was too late. She was in the back of a car, shot 7 times. It was a brutal and senseless act that ended her young life. After that, the story takes another dark turn. The man responsible, Rowland, couldn't face what he had done. Later that same night, he took his own life.
Around 1 a.m., Salt Lake City police officers spotted him in the area of 200 East and 500 South downtown.
They were chasing him on foot, and they chased him to this location where they found that he had forced entry to this building.
We have the suspect inside the church. It looks like he has a gunshot wound self-inflicted.
In clearing the building, they found our suspect deceased in a room in the church.
It was a tragic end to a tragic evening. And the man who had given Rowland the gun, well, he was caught too. He went to court, got 3 years in prison. After this all came out, people started asking questions. They wanted to know why this had happened. It turned out that Lauren had been scared of Rowland for a while. She knew something bad might happen. She had even asked the university police for help several times. She told them she was afraid of her ex-boyfriend, who was stalking her, but they didn't help her enough. This story makes us think about a lot of things. Why didn't anyone listen to Lauren when she needed help? What could have been done differently to protect her? Well, it was more complicated, it seems. Now, before we dig deeper into the events that unfolded on that fateful October night, let's take a moment to understand who Lauren McCluskey really was, starting right from her early days. Lauren wasn't just a university student caught in a tragic series of events. She was a vibrant young woman, brimming with potential, shaped early on by her passions and achievements. Lauren grew up in Pullman, Washington, a small town where community and sports are a big part of everyday life. From the moment she could walk, Lauren showed an uncanny ability for athletics. Imagine a tiny 2-year-old fearlessly climbing trees, her legs and arms in constant motion. That was Lauren, always moving, always striving. As she grew older, her natural talent for sports became more apparent. By the age of 10, Lauren was not just participating in local track meets, but excelling at them, often standing on the podium with medals around her neck. Her parents, Matthew and Jill, always there in the stands, knew early on that their daughter was destined for outstanding things on the track. By the time she reached high school, Lauren had become a standout athlete. She wasn't just fast, she was a force to be reckoned with. Her specialty, the high jump, an event where she leaped over bars much taller than herself, again and again, refining her technique and pushing her limits. It was her dedication and skill that won her the Washington State High Jump Championship. Not stopping there, Lauren also ranked 10th in the heptathlon at the USATF Outdoor Junior Championships, a feat that caught the eye of several college scouts.
These medals,
Yeah.
quite a few.
So she started competing nationally as a 9-year-old.
Coming in here is still hard.
It's nice though to look at the things. You know, she did a lot in her life. Lauren didn't care what you looked like. She didn't care where you came from. Sort of fearless. You know, every parent says this, but she was a very kind person.
I noticed that she was very athletic from when she was an infant.
The University of Utah was among the schools that recognized her talent. They didn't just see her as an athlete. They saw a student who had maintained a high GPA despite the demands of her sports commitments, a young woman who embodied the balance between academic and athletic excellence. When it came time to choose a college, Lauren had her pick of several scholarships and programs, but it was Utah that won her over. Transitioning to college life was a breeze for Lauren. She was not only excited about representing her university on the track field, but also about embracing all the new experiences college had to offer. Settling into campus life at Salt Lake City, she quickly made new friends and became involved in various activities, including joining the Capitol Church downtown. It wasn't long before she began inviting friends to join her at services, always eager to include everyone in her circle. But it wasn't all about sports and academics for Lauren. She loved to sing and dance, often the first to grab the microphone at karaoke nights, her laughter filling the room. Her zest for life was contagious, drawing people to her because of her kindness and genuine interest in others. So, as we reflect on Lauren's life and the promise she held, it's crucial to understand the full extent of her vibrant spirit and her deep roots in both family and community. These elements shaped the young woman who stepped onto the University of Utah campus, ready to take on the world without knowing the challenges that lay ahead. Now, life took a turn when she met Melvin Rowland. Lauren met Melvin Rowland in September 2018 at a lively downtown Salt Lake City bar where he worked as a bouncer. He introduced himself with confidence, his demeanor friendly and engaging. To Lauren, Melvin appeared to be someone interesting, a man who claimed to be in the military and worked as a security officer. He seemed like just another college student, a bit older perhaps, but charming. They exchanged numbers, and soon after, they started seeing each other. It seemed like the beginning of a typical college romance.
What made me feel uncomfortable was how he would be calling every single time whenever we would be out, and she would say, "I have to get this." I was like, I'm not necessarily comfortable with how he's treating you. Being kind of controlling.
When did you first hear your daughter talk about this man?
In September. He was very charming. He tried to sweep her off her feet. I was concerned that he was a little older than her. I didn't know his
You thought he was
true age.
a little older than
Yes,
her, not...
yeah.
But the relationship took a darker turn as Lauren soon discovered unsettling truths about Melvin. It wasn't long before she sensed that Melvin wasn't the person he claimed to be. Her suspicions grew, prompting her to investigate further. What she found was alarming. Melvin Rowland was actually on parole and listed on the sexual offender registry. The man she knew as a charming bouncer was living a lie.
Every woman I've met or that came across, that I used my manipulation tactics to get what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So
How many did you out and out rape, like the one young lady?
Like, well, not like that, but me being a womanizer, you know, I use other tactics to get what I wanted with them. I'd say some similar, I'd say two.
Two others?
But I see it in general, just how I manipulated and used women in general.
How many women in general did you convince to have sex with you by manipulation?
I got locked up at 22, and my sexual experience, I'd say about 50.
Okay.
Confronted with this shocking revelation, Lauren knew she had to act. She decided to confront Melvin directly, hoping to resolve the situation by ending the relationship. This confrontation happened in her dorm room, a place where she should have felt safe. Melvin admitted to his deceit when faced with the evidence Lauren presented. Standing firm, Lauren ended their relationship right there, choosing to protect herself and move forward from a potentially dangerous situation.
His name was different. His age was different.
She told me that she had found out that he was a sex offender and that he'd lied about his age.
However, the end of their relationship did not bring peace to Lauren. So after ending the relationship, Lauren McCluskey hoped that was the last she'd hear from Melvin Rowland. But that wasn't the case. Rowland didn't just walk away. Instead, he started a campaign of harassment that only grew worse over time. He sent her messages, some of which were threatening, and even got his friends involved. They posted fake news about his own suicide on social media and tried to pin the blame on Lauren, which only added to her distress. Rowland didn't stop there. He attempted to meet her at her university dorm, occasionally even assuming a disguised identity.
University of Utah senior Lauren McCluskey was worried about strange texts she was getting after she broke up with her boyfriend Melvin Rowland, so she alerted campus police.
This video is from Friday, October 19th, 10 days after they broke up and 7 weeks after they first met. Rowland is dressed up as the comic book character Deadpool and walking around outside of Lauren's dorm. At 4:02 p.m., here she is walking in the west entrance. And then, a minute later, see Rowland walking around outside the north entrance.
Lauren and her parents didn't know that Rowland was stalking her. They also didn't know that he had access to her email because she had once logged into her account on his phone. So he knew about her communications with campus police.
He crossed another line when he demanded $1,000 from her. He threatened to release explicit photos of her if she didn't pay. Facing such a dire threat, Lauren felt even more cornered and scared. Now, at this point, Lauren didn't keep this to herself. She told her family and close friends about what was happening. Although Rowland was manipulative, making it hard for her to gauge the real danger, she started to realize the seriousness of the threats. Despite her initial reluctance to seek help, as the situation escalated, her concern turned into real fear.
I think they're trying to lure me somewhere. Do you know when an arrest would be made? Hi, so I'm dealing with a situation where I'm being blackmailed for money.
Over the next 2 weeks, Lauren reached out to the campus police multiple times. She reported Rowland's harassing messages and his attempt to extort money from her. Desperate, she even paid the $1,000, hoping it would prevent the leak of her private photos. So, after Lauren McCluskey ended her relationship with Melvin Rowland, the tension didn't dissipate. It escalated into a crisis that shook everyone involved to their core. The evening of October 22, 2018 was a typical night for a college student nearing the end of the semester. Lauren was walking back to her dorm after her last class, chatting on the phone with her parents back in Washington State. They were doing what families often do, talking about their day, sharing little updates, just keeping that connection alive despite the distance. But that ordinary conversation took a horrifying turn. Suddenly, in the midst of their chat, Lauren's parents, Matthew and Jill, heard noises that chilled them to the bone. Sounds of a struggle, noises that didn't belong. They heard their daughter yell, a noise that every parent dreads. Then the phone dropped. The connection was still there, but Lauren's voice was not. The only sounds left were the haunting sounds of a scuffle, followed by silence. Frantic, her parents called out to her, "Lauren! Lauren!" but received no reply. Their response was a chilling silence. In a panic, her father grabbed the nearest phone and dialed 911. His voice was urgent, explaining the situation to the dispatcher with a tremble that mirrored his fear. They knew deep down that something terrible was happening.
She just started saying, no, 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 no. And it sounded like someone might have been grabbing her or something.
They immediately alerted the campus police back at the University of Utah. The situation was very tense. Everyone knew Lauren was in danger, but no one had any idea where she was. Already aware of the threats Lauren had been facing, the officers now needed to respond to the possibility of an abduction or worse. They scrambled, coordinating with local authorities, trying to piece together her last known location from the phone call. The campus, usually a hub of youthful energy and bustling student life, turned into a scene of frantic activity. Police cars rushed to the area, officers hurried along the pathways Lauren might have taken, and a search began in earnest. Her parents, hundreds of miles away, could only wait, their hearts sinking with each passing minute without news. The campus police and local law enforcement worked together, combing through the area, looking for any sign of Lauren. They checked surveillance footage, interviewed potential witnesses, and retraced her steps. Every resource was mobilized and focused on finding Lauren before it was too late. As the search intensified, the chilling reality of the situation set in. Lauren McCluskey, a beloved daughter, friend, and student, had vanished in a matter of moments, under the most terrifying circumstances. The community held its breath, hoping for a safe return, while her parents endured an agonizing wait, clinging to hope against the creeping dread that their worst fears might soon be confirmed. Then, late into the night, a breakthrough came, but it was the kind no one wanted. A police officer noticed something amiss in a quiet, dimly lit parking lot not far from Lauren's last sighting. Lauren was found there in the back of a parked car. It was a scene that shattered hearts. Lauren was there, but she was no longer alive. The discovery was devastating. She had been shot multiple times, a brutal and senseless act that extinguished a bright, promising life far too soon. The campus, once a place of learning and laughter, became a scene of mourning. The news spread quickly, and the impact was immediate and profound. Students gathered, some in tears, others in shocked silence, trying to comprehend the tragedy that happened among them. The vibrant young woman, known for her athleticism, kindness, and bright future, was gone in an act of violence that seemed incomprehensible. This moment, the discovery of Lauren's body, marked a pivotal point in both the community and the investigation. It was a painful confirmation of many people's worst fears and a sobering reminder of the vulnerabilities that exist even in places intended to be safe havens. So as we dig deeper into this story, it becomes painfully clear that there were several missed opportunities that could have prevented Lauren McCluskey's tragic end. In a critical oversight, officers failed to check the offender status of Lauren's ex-boyfriend, Melvin Rowland, who was on parole at the time. This simple but crucial check, following Lauren's reports of threats and extortion, could have led to Rowland's immediate arrest. Imagine the difference it could have made if just one responsible adult had taken her fears seriously and acted promptly. Also, just days before her murder, Lauren tried once more to protect herself. She provided a detective with detailed information about Rowland's criminal record. Unfortunately, that email went unread until it was too late, a delay that had dire consequences.
So the last words you heard your daughter say?
No, no, no.
Those 3 words are forever etched in Jill McCluskey's memory. Questions now about why their daughter's cries for help didn't seem to be heard. The University of Utah now on the defensive.
Was Lauren's death preventable?
Yes.
Absolutely.
During her final days, Lauren felt increasingly isolated and desperate for support. She sought assistance, sharing with a friend her dissatisfaction with the police's lack of belief in the dangers her ex-boyfriend posed. She felt trapped and unsure of what to do next, a sign of how deeply she needed effective intervention. The broader environment at the university also played a role in failing to protect Lauren. Lax dormitory security and a campus culture that often minimized female students' complaints created a less secure environment. These systemic issues show a significant problem. a resistance to taking seriously the fears and complaints expressed by young women. The university has struggled to accept responsibility for these oversights. Acknowledging these failures is crucial for genuine change. Without recognizing what went wrong, it is difficult to prevent similar tragedies in the future. It's a challenging lesson about the importance of accountability and the need for systemic change. Interestingly, changes are beginning to unfold, partly spurred by the broader societal shifts due to the coronavirus pandemic. With fewer students on campus and more focus on individual well-being, there's an opportunity to rethink and reform safety protocols and response systems. After Lauren McCluskey's tragic death, her friend and roommate Brooke Martin was initially in shock. But as the days turned into weeks and then months, Brooke noticed that nothing much was changing on campus when it came to safety or policy. This drove her to take action. She created a mural in honor of Lauren and helped form a student-led group called Unsafe U.
Lauren! Justice for Lauren!
On the first anniversary of Lauren's death, Unsafe U organized its first public protest. Since then, they've been active in gathering and sharing stories about other mishandled cases on campus. In Brooke Martin's directions, students are using their voices, standing up for what's right, refusing to forget, and not accepting empty promises or quick fixes from a system that's just not working. Following Lauren's murder, the entire campus community entered a long period of grief and introspection. They investigated what went wrong and worked hard to hold the university's safety leaders and administrators accountable. The McCluskey family pursued a lawsuit against the university, leading to its eventual settlement.
In June 2019, Jill and Matt McCluskey filed a $56 million lawsuit against the school, alleging it failed to protect their daughter.
I do not want to be in this world without Lauren, but being stuck here, I have no choice but to try to make this world better. It is with the greatest reluctance that we have chosen this last resort of legal action. Our only profit will be the somber satisfaction of saving lives.
Women must be believed and taken seriously when they ask for help.
Over the next 5 years since Lauren's murder, the University of Utah has really changed how it handles campus safety. Nearly 80% of the officers now working at the university's Department of Public Safety were not there when Lauren died. These new officers are trained in how to assess lethal threats and are taught what questions should and shouldn't be asked of victim survivors. The university's Housing and Residential Education Department has also stepped up by placing specially trained community advisors in student housing to identify and intervene in cases of interpersonal violence. The university has also made 37 specific changes to its policies and procedures. This includes 29 recommendations following Lauren's death, as well as 8 following another tragic incident involving a student named Zifan Dong in 2022. As the university dug into the issues, it became clear there were missed steps, a lack of experience, and a harmful culture within the university police department.
If you could say something to Lauren, what would it be?
I'm sorry for how we handled her case. How I didn't push the detective to move, but I wasn't in that position to do so. Just apologize to her too, that we didn't do more.
This revelation prompted the university leaders to focus on rebuilding the Department of Public Safety. But the changes didn't stop there. In March 2023, the department hosted its first campus safety conference. This event featured a presentation from Jill McCluskey, Lauren's mother, who has since founded the McCluskey Foundation and serves as a professor and director at Washington State University's School of Economic Sciences. The University of Utah is transforming its approach to campus safety through these actions, applying past lessons to create a safer environment for all students. This ongoing process reflects a community committed to change and improvement, driven by Lauren's memory and the efforts of others like Brooke Martin, who refused to let her story go unheard. As we conclude this story, it's clear that while nothing can bring Lauren back, her legacy is one of change, hope, and a community's collective vow to do better. We remember her not just for the circumstances of her death, but for her bright life, her dreams, her passions, and how she moved the world towards change. Her story reminds us of the power of a single voice and the profound impact it can have when a community unites to listen, learn, and advocate for a safer, kinder world. Lauren McCluskey's life and tragic end are a call to all of us to watch over each other, to care deeply, and to never underestimate the importance of taking action when it matters most. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Stories like Lauren's are difficult, but they are necessary. They teach us, remind us, and hopefully motivate us to create a safer world for everyone. If this story touched you, or if you believe in spreading awareness and advocating for change, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below the video. And thanks again for watching.